I'm currently building a workstation PC on a pretty tight budget for a friend. The way I'm going to be getting him the most performance for the money is buying a base system and upgrading it to fit his needs. What you're looking at right now is that base system. This is a fully working X79 workstation PC I picked up from eBay for around $150 shipped, which when you hear the specs may not sound like a very good deal, but the fact that X79 motherboards themselves cost $150 or more makes this a very good deal. Now before I gut the PC and upgrade it, I figured I would make some videos using it as is. The focal point of this video is going to be trying to game using the Lenovo S30's measly 1.8 GHz Intel E5 2603 processor. The CPU has 4 cores with no hyperthreading and no turbo boost, making it equivalent to a very underclocked Core i5 2400. I used the 8GB of DDR3 included with the PC and replaced the old Quadro FX card with a 3GB GTX 1060 for these tests to make sure the CPU was the limiting factor. If you're wondering, I'll eventually be replacing the CPU with an E5 2670, which is an 8-core hyper-threaded beast that runs at up to 3.3 GHz and only costs around $70 or $80 on eBay. The first test I wanted to run before getting into any games was Cinebench to see the CPU's raw power. With a Cinebench score of a little over 200, I knew these benchmarks weren't going to be pretty. Just for comparison's sake, a modern Skyline quad-core i5 overclocked can easily score in the 700s, showing just how underpowered the CPU is. Another great testament to this fact is you can pick up these CPUs for just $15 on eBay. So the first game I tested was Overwatch. The 1063GB, even paired with my 2.5 GHz Haswell Xeon, runs beautifully at above 60 FPS the entire time at 1440p ultra settings. On this system, I was looking at an average in the low to mid 30s with frequent stuttering and frame drops, which though playable was not what I would consider enjoyable. I dropped the resolution down to 1080p, and even then I was seeing the exact same FPS, which is a good indication of a severe CPU bottleneck. The second game I tested was Skyline. At 3440 by 1440p max settings, this game yielded an abysmal FPS average in the mid-20s. On a game like this, mid-20s is playable, but again, not enjoyable. I again played with the resolution, but couldn't get any noticeable improvements in performance. The third game I tested was GTA 5, and man did this run horribly. Before even getting into the game, Steam prompted me that my system did not meet the minimum requirements. Ignoring that message, I jumped into the game, again at 3440 by 1440p at around high settings. This GPU with a more powerful CPU can play GTA 5 at these settings, pushing the FPS into the 50s, but with this CPU, not so much. This game was completely unplayable because of one glaring issue: texture poppin'. While walking or running, things seemed fine, but jump into a car, I found the system struggling to load in the map as I drove at a moderate pace, leaving floating cars and invisible obstacles. It was honestly kind of fun driving around like this, trying not to hit stuff. I haven't seen texture poppin' this bad since I tried GTA 5 on the $100 gaming PC. Link will be in the card above if you want to check that out. So GTA 5 is clearly not playable on the CPU, pushing out horrible frame rates and not even being able to load in the map correctly. So the final game I decided to try was a much lighter title, Rocket League. Rocket League at max settings 3440 by 1440p resolution played beautifully smooth at a locked 60 FPS, so I guess some games are fine with the CPU. So conclusion time, is this CPU completely useless for gaming? Well, if you're wanting to play AAA titles, then absolutely yes, but on lighter titles it can work perfectly fine. Now would I ever recommend the CPU? Absolutely not. The fact that X79 motherboards cost $150 or more means that added cost makes the CPU a horrible deal, and something like an i5 2400 and an LGA 1155 motherboard would both cost less and perform better. So yeah guys, I think this wraps this video up. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up, as well as consider subscribing for more PC and tech related content in the future. And as always, this is Matt from Tech by Matt, signing out.